So we have another speaker coming up now, and he's going to talk to you about decentralized exchanges versus centralized services and whether one will overcome another. I would like to introduce Konstantin Gladych to you. He is the CEO and co-founder at Changelly, advisor at Cindicator, Genesis Vision, and advisor at MinerGate. And for those of you who don't know Changelly.com, it's an instant digital currency exchange that rapidly gained prominence in the global community. Now, Konstantin has been deeply involved in the industry, and his profound insights have enabled him to gain insights on how to make business tools work for the community. So, a very warm welcome.
Hello. Hi, everyone. So I'm Konstantin. I'm the CEO of Changelly. It's an instant exchange service. And today I want to talk about decentralized solutions and centralized services. Will one overcome another, or it's just rumors? So people are talking about decentralization, distributed systems. It's really a huge hype. Why do I talk here? I'm managing Changelly. It's an instant exchange service. We are operating on the market for the last 3 years. We have about 2 million registered users all over the world. We have a lot of users from United States, from Korea, from Japan, from England, from Germany, of course. And we have about 50 people in our team and 500 million monthly volume. We are providing instant exchange API for Jax wallet, for Bread wallet, for Coinemy, and a few smaller wallets. We are partners with Binance, Bittrex, with CoinMarketCap as our biggest affiliate partner. So we are pretty big, and we have a lot of experience on the exchanges market. Here is the exchanges landscape. As for now, Binance, Bittrex, and a few other centralized services are still dominated on the market. There are a few instant exchange services for swapping your coins, like Changelly or Shapeshift. A few custody-free solutions. The biggest one is IDEX, and also 0x relays. There are a few truly decentralized services like EtherDelta, and also services based on BitShares technologies, and different marketplaces like local bitcoins for fiat to crypto trading. How does a classic centralized exchanges working? You deposit funds to any kind of exchange service. Your balance now is topped up, and you can trade. But actually, you don't own that money. Once you make a deposit, your funds are on the cold storage of the exchange. It's like a bank. If you put your funds to any bank, now bank owns your funds. Such services are still dominates on the market, and it's a high liquidity on the services, a lot of trading options. There are margin trading, it's algorithmic trading, HFT trading, and also have a fiat payment options. I hope that slide doesn't concern any of you, but it's the biggest risk. It's the biggest custody risk. If you have let's say thousands of bitcoins on your account and you got hacked, and what's happened next. I think that's one of the main reasons why people are trying to build decentralized services. Because centralized exchanges, it's friendly interface, and they're working pretty fast, and why you need anything else. And also another option is regulation. It's another reason, regulation, because for instance, if you want to trade in New York, you need a bit license. You should wait for ages to get it, and it's like a wall for the startups. Instant exchange services like Changelly or Shapeshift, it's tons of trading pairs. Let's say you even trade Litecoin for Ethereum, and it's impossible to do on any exchange services, but it's possible to do on Changelly. Also, you can trade from your wallets, because such services have integrations with the main wallets. You may trade from Jax, from Coiname, from Mycelium directly, from blockchain.info. It's pretty nice to have such options. It's less risky because funds are locked only for the short period of time, and it's less custody risks. How Changelly works? Let's say you want to exchange Litecoin to Ethereum. We are giving you a Litecoin address. You make a deposit for that address, and we are providing the background trading for you on our exchange partners, or Bittrex or Binance. In some cases, huge deals may be hedged by our over-the-counter trading desks. Most of the deals are hedged. Once we provide trading for you, we will send you Ethereum. It's pretty fast, pretty easy process with user-friendly interface, but it took 10 or 20 minutes. It depends on the network, and it's unavailable for professional traders. But it's nice to have such options with less custody risks. Here are a few custody-free exchanges. The biggest one today is IDEX. It was started in January and rising very fast. But you can trade only Ethereum and tokens on such kind of exchanges. Such services have an off-chain order books. That means you can trade super fast. You can trade algorithmically. You can trade with bots. But settlement is happening on chain. The famous one is 0x, and 0x is protocol, and there are a lot of 0x relay services. Paradox recently was acquired by Coinbase. Etherfinex is related to Bitfinex service. How zero relay works? You want to exchange one token, token A to token B. You are the maker. You give access to your token's contract. Now DEX contracts have access to your wallet. And taker also give access to token B. Actually, all the contract sources are open sourced and based on on-chain. You can really check what's happening with your funds and what the conditions are for moving your funds from one wallet to another. Maker broadcasting the transaction to network. Now taker accepting the order, and funds are moving through the DEX contract. So as you see, it's off-chain order matching, but on-chain settlement. It's less custody risk for you, but it's still lack of liquidity, lack of trading options. Such services are just at the beginning. So I think we see a lot of new services around 0x, maybe this year or next year. And the main disadvantage, it was only for Ethereum and tokens trading. Here, decentralized on-chain exchanges. It's do you know that the biggest one is Ripple? Because Ripple is the biggest decentralized exchange service, and it exists for ages, and it's maybe not so famous, but it's the biggest one, and I think it's one of the biggest blockchain for now. Also, it's Ether Delta. If you're familiar with Ether Delta, maybe you remember how it's happened. It's about 1 year ago, and Ethereum blockchain stack of Ether Delta transactions. About 20 or 30% of all the transactions on Ethereum blockchain was initiated by Ether Delta. It was a phenomenon. But the reality is if one token is listed first on Ether Delta, the trading volume is pretty high. But when you start to trade, when the token is listed on Binance, everyone is going to Binance. So if users don't have any options to trade, they are going to Ether Delta or 0x relays or IDEX or other decentralized or custody-free solutions. But most of the trading volume is still happening on Binance. Here is how Ripple exchange works. If you want to trade, let's say, Bitcoin to United States dollars on Ripple, it's possible. It's possible, but you should use gateways. Gateways are still centralized. You deposit funds to Bitcoin gateway. Once you did that, you have tokens on Ripple network. You have a Bitcoin token. And you can get the same for Litecoin or for United States dollars or for yen. You broadcast order to Ripple network. And it's happening on-chain order matching. It's happening on Ripple blockchain, and it's custody-free, it's trustless, anonymous. But if you want to withdraw funds, you should use another kind of a gateway. I have checked how many gateways Ripple has, and it's not a few, like only a few gateways in Europe, in Japan, and I'm trying to find the United States gateway, but no gateways. It's Ripple. Okay. If you check Ether Delta, it's pretty similar. You are given access to your funds, to your wallets. Now you can trade, and all the orders are put in on-chain, on Ethereum blockchain. But it's really slow. It's plenty of scalability issues. Let's say if you want to trade with the same volume like Binance doing on Ether Delta, it's almost impossible. So all the transactions will stuck and the orders doesn't execute forever. And it's pretty hard to do cross-blockchain transactions. It's only available through the gateways. Here is another kind of services, really interesting. It's based on collateralized liquidity. It's Bancor, Kyber, and a few smaller services are trying to do the same, to play in the same stage. It's pretty similar to Changelly or Shapeshift if you want to exchange your Ethereum to tokens. It's pretty similar interface, but it's on-chain settlement and it's on-chain liquidity. Let's check how does it work. How does Bancor pricing works? Once you want to get listed your token on Binance, you will give, let's say, 100 tokens and 10 Ethereums, 10 Ether. All the funds are locked in a smart contract, and the price of the token is 0.1 Ether now. It's a Bancor liquidity contract. It's on-chain. Source code is visible for everyone, and it's trustless. And if you want to make trade, you just call in the special function of the smart contract. Let's say you want to sell 20 tokens for 2 Ether. What is happening? Now you have more tokens in the smart contracts and less Ether blocked in the smart contracts. And now the price of the token is going down. It's the same like you trade on regular exchange. If you do a huge trade, spread is moving. And the price is going up, or maybe price is going down. And it's especially useful for those tokens who cannot be listed on any centralized services like Binance or Bittrex. For some reasons, maybe it's a security tokens or just not a huge community tokens, but it can be done on Bancor. pretty easy. So it's for long tail tokens. But for sure, there are also disadvantages. It's unavailable for algorithmic tradings. It's only swaps for not professional traders. And also, it's only for Ethereum and tokens based. And it can happen at front running. What is front running? Front running, when you're trying to make a trade, but the next block was mined, and price is going. It's quite similar to slipperage when you're talking about centralized services. It's another really interesting technology. I'm a big fan of atomic swaps. It's useful for cross-blockchain transactions. You can do swaps between Litecoin, Bitcoin, between Litecoin and Ether. It's happening on-chain, and it's really trustless and anonymous. You need two contracts. Seller side making deposit of Bitcoin, and buyer side is deposit Litecoins to contracts. All the participants are checking the addresses, and if everything is okay, so exchange ready to happen, and they are making a redeem. In reality, this process is a bit more complicated than that pictures, but it's trustless as anonymous. But it's slow. You should wait for Bitcoin confirmations 10 or 20 minutes before the swap is happening. And it's both of the sites should be online, check what happened with the swaps, and other transactions is confirmed. So it's the reality. The reality is that the main exchange volume is still going through centralized services. 99% of the exchanges still happen on Binance, OKEx, Bittrex. And if you check any token, the distribution of funds for any token, you will see like 50% or 30% of all the tokens are sitting on Binance wallets or Bittrex wallets. People are still using centralized services like a custody, like a wallets. And what I see is a huge liquidity still on centralized exchanges, but it's still custody and regulation risks. And if we are talking about decentralized services, it's less counterparty risks, but it's still scalability issues, not so many trading options, lack of trading options, front running, and I believe it's almost impossible to do a trading on blockchain, especially high frequency trading. It's blockchain is not for high frequency trading. I think it will. These markets will coexist. Next years, we will see improvements in technologies, and decentralized services will gain more and more popularity. And I think, I hope the next year it should be like, let's say, 5% to 95%. And I hope this will happen. Because it's the nature of cryptocurrency, of Bitcoin or Ethereum. It's decentralized currencies. But it's a funny paradox if you see that the main exchange volume is happening on centralized services. It's like an endpoints. And if the regulation decided, okay, let's shut down the main exchanges, the market will go down. So it's a huge risk for all of us. But it's the reality. So thank you very much. I think we have time for questions. Yeah?
Yes, you have maybe just 2 minutes. One question.
Yeah.
One.
Maybe someone has questions.
No one has a question?
Okay, you can catch me later after.
You have last chance. Put your hand up if you have a question.
Yes, one.
How you dealing? Sorry. How are you dealing with the volatility of the different currencies and working with blockchain where the transactions are not very fast?
Are you talking about decentralized services or centralized solutions? If you are talking about centralized services, you make a deposit and you should wait for confirmations. Let's say Bitcoin 2 confirmations, so Bitcoin Gold recently was attacked with 51% attack, and you should wait for 20 or 30 confirmations. And if you are talking about decentralized services, it's really hard to do on-chain exchanges. So you should wait for confirmation if you're talking about the atomic swaps. So that's what.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Konstantin, for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.